Let's talk.
Giles Brown.
I'm joined by my great friend. I think I can call him that. It's Marc, Elliott, the Lama. Good morning to you, Marc.
Good morning, Giles. Lovely to see you once more.
Indeed, and then without the lights, camera action that we had last time, because you bought the Fluent Finance Abroad tech film department.
We did.
We were ages in it. We were ages in hair and makeup, weren't we?
We were. Not so much on the hair though. That didn't take too long.
Yeah.
But the makeup. That took a while. So we did. Yeah, we brought Alfredo Bloy in to video the conversation, and so that we could see the TRE studios and people can actually see what Giles Brown actually looks like.
People always say to me, they say, "Oh, you're Giles Brown. You don't look like you sound." They're expecting obviously 6 foot tall, sort of Brad Pitt, sort of
an Adonis.
And then here I am.
Well, I think you're quite attractive, Giles.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Right then. Thankfully, Fluent. Actually, you've been busy, which is a good thing. No, but actually, talking about that video, because it is very, very well shot.
Yes.
It's not shot on an iPhone. It's not, and nobody says hi guys. Anybody says that, and that I always turn off.
Yeah.
But it really is a good look at if people want to go over what this product is and explain it in great detail, which you did.
So it's uploaded on the TRE website, isn't it? Yeah. So, and it's 15 minutes long, so it's not too heavy. And we went through a lot of information on there, quick fire. So hopefully, if people wanted to see the video and get a recap, then they can just jump on the TRE website. Here you're getting a new one as well, which is, I think, would be a good thing. But hopefully we will cover some of the topics today as well.
So for those who are just joining us for the first time about this, Fluent Finance Abroad, you've been based down here you personally have been based down here for a very, very long time indeed. So just give me the quick sort of, the 30-second what Fluent Finance Abroad actually is.
Sure. So Fluent Finance Abroad is a regulated mortgage broker, operational in Spain since 2006. So we're fully regulated by the Bank of Spain, and we are able to use our connections and contacts to the whole of the market to find mortgage solutions for people who have property in Spain. Basically, that's basically it. Yeah.
And you're fully regulated and registered. Everything is you've crossed the I's, you've dotted the T's, and all that situation.
We have compliance from the Bank of Spain that we have to adhere to, and and also the banks as well. So the banks have to treat customers fairly. We also have to do that as well. And obviously we're on the hook with the Bank of Spain, and we have a license which we obviously can lose if we don't do our job properly.
Right, and you've bought this new product you've been researching and looking into for a very long time. This isn't a sort of wham bam, there you go, here's a product, let's see how it goes. This is something you researched for a long time. Tell me a little bit more about this particular what we're talking about today.
Okay, so the product that we want of interest today is something called a Spanish lifetime mortgage. It's the Spanish name is the hipoteca inversa. People sometimes know it if they're from the UK as equity release, or from the US as a reverse mortgage. Now, it is a mortgage, and therefore it falls under Spanish regulations. It's brought to the market by insurance companies like Casa or Mafre and banks. Okay, so the product is designed to increase wealth in retirement. Because it's regulated, it has to be on property that is here in Spain, and the owner of the property, it must be their main residence, and the owners of the property must be 65 or over. And
do they have to be Spanish residents as well? They have to be.
Yes, they need to be Spanish residents.
Yeah.
Your previous guest, I think the tax advisor Spence Clark, mentioned about the fact that if you own property and you're over 65 and you've proved that you've lived in it for the last 3 years, there are some special exemptions in tax, and there are some special exemptions in terms of this particular product as well. So it is designed for increasing wealth in retirement.
So this is a way that they can release the equity from their homes, but they're still able to live in the home as well. So the home,
So a lot of your listeners will know of this product from the UK because it's very, very popular in the UK. Obviously, equity release and lifetime mortgages has a long track record. some of it hasn't been fantastic. Obviously, there was you and I were here back in 2004, 2005, 2006. There was a lot of equity release type schemes available back then, but a lot of water has passed under the bridge since then. New regulations have come in from Europe in 2014. Spain implemented these new regulations in 2019, and so now the Spanish mortgage market is much more controlled. And so this new modern Spanish lifetime mortgage stroke equity release, I feel very, very confident in going public and saying that we have access to it, because it is a completely different market in a sense, and a different product than what some people might be fearful of from the past.
Right. Okay. And also, you can take once this is agreed, when you meet the conditions, etc. This is available as you can draw it out as a lump sum, as a monthly instalment.
Yeah. You can take equity out of your property. You can take cash out of your property, and that's very useful as a retirement planning tool.
Yeah.
We love property, don't we? Everyone does. And property values have gone up over the last, say, 15 years here in Spain. Yeah. And this product allows you to access some of that value in your property to use to increase your lifestyle wealth in retirement. That's all it's for. And so,
is there any sort of parameters on sort of the value of the property? Does it have to be $1 million euro house? I mean, is that...
No, the general consensus is the minimum property value, which isn't a problem in our area, or generally in Spain in general, is 200,000 euros. Yeah. And so you can gain a loan, like a small loan to value, between 20% to 35% maximum. So it's quite a loan to value. The interest, there are no monthly payments. That's really important. So there's no risk of default, because you will never miss a payment, because there are no payments to miss. But the interest does roll up against the value of your property. Now that's fine, because if we calculate the interest over X amount of years based on your life expectancy, this is a lifetime mortgage, remember, and we assume that property prices over that period, let's say 10, 15, 20 years, in general, could go up, say, by 2% per annum. That will pretty much ensure that the debt will never really be more than what the value of the house, which hopefully will mean that if you do have beneficiaries, or you are going to leave the property into your estate, that the beneficiaries will still have something left over once you've enjoyed taking the funds out of the property. Okay. I'll give you a quick example.
Yeah, please.
So, for example, a client that we recently signed last week, all our stories are quite nice, but the client, she bought property in 2014 for 170,000 euros. Now, looking back now, that was a steal. Mm-hmm. Because today we valued it at 350. So that was a fantastic investment. Yeah. But her pension income, physical pension income, is really low. Too low, really, that she was in.
So it's literally cash poor, asset rich, basically, we're looking at here.
Cash poor, asset rich, exactly right. And that's what this product is designed to sort of turn that position more in your favour.
Yeah. Okay. We touched briefly on the Venta Desnuda. Now, those who have run that through AI will say it's when the sales guy turns up with very little clothing on. What on earth is the Venta Desnuda, and what we should be looking out for that for?
Yeah. So this is a product that's kind of gaining traction. It's not a product in itself. It's just a form of, a lot of people are calling it equity release. This isn't a mortgage. This is where you sell your property to a third party. And that third party own your home, but they allow you to live in it for the rest of your life. supposedly, right? Okay. Now, what I worry about this. I'm doing, because it's not a mortgage. It's not something that I have to set exams on, and because it's not mortgage related. It's a sale of a property. Now, but because it's related to lifetime, I do get we do get inquiries like asking us to explain the difference. So I've been doing some extra research on the sale of bare ownership, or the venta de la nuda propiedad, which is what it's called in Spanish. And the thing that worries me is that it's an unregulated market. It's you're selling your home to a third party. Now, after a bit of research and seeing, well, how does it actually work? Who actually buys the property? What I've noticed is that some of the companies that are promoting this is that they don't really have investors. What they do is they kind of put it on Idealista and try and go to the general public to buy this property. But that obviously, if you sell your property and you're going to have a relationship with this third party for how many years, we don't know. Now, who you're selling it to, that's the thing that worries me when it comes to the sale of that sale of bare ownership, which is completely different to what we're hoping.
Yeah, because I mean, the one thing that you said there straight off the bat was unregulated, and this is the most important decision I think people are going to make, apart from buying the house. So if you want to release my cash from that, I said cash poor, asset rich, you want that to be totally within the bounds of, because we know the horror stories. You know, we see the tabloid press. Oh, they said I could live in there for life, and now I'm living in a studio flat in wherever. Yeah. You know, whilst my beautiful house has been bought by this. So unregulated at this point, when there is no kind of there's no, if you like, excuse to go on unregulated, because you guys are regular. You sit exams. You're underwritten by the Bank of Spain. Yeah, it's like going to a mortgage broker who says, "Well, actually, we're doing it through the Bank of Panama or something." When you could do it through UK. You know what I'm saying here? Yeah, you're kind of asking for trouble, Mark.
Well, that's how it used to be like in 2006 when we had before the credit crisis. It was a bit of a free for all. Yeah. There weren't any strong regulations. In 2004, the European Union, with the Mortgage Credit Directive, imposed their own regulations, which Spain implemented in 2019. So the banks are 100% on the hook. And so therefore, the product that we're promoting now, the mortgage, which is a charge against your property, you're not selling the property to the bank. That's really important. Yeah. That's why we feel so confident that it's a transparent product. It has to be signed at notary. You need to get independent legal advice from a proper legal professional who understands this product before. Otherwise, the bank just won't sign it. Because the bank want to know that they're covered as well. The last thing the bank would want is in 2 or 3 years' time to have a legal dispute with thousands of retirees.
Yeah, exactly. And also the other thing is, of course, and we talk about the value of the property. This has got to be valued by an independent chartered surveyor as well, hasn't it?
It has to be valued by an independent Bank of Spain regulated. Okay. Yeah. It's because the valuation document, the report, has to go alongside the mortgage deed. Otherwise, the mortgage deed isn't legal. Right. So you can't have one without the other. So the valuation is a very important document.
Right. Okay. Now, we've all got very documented. We've all been talking about sort of paperwork and documents and unregulated. But there's, as I said before, we're talking about people's houses, and you buy your house, and it's an investment. For many people, it's the biggest investment they're ever going to make, and it may just be bricks and mortar, but you have this emotional attachment to your house. You've grown up there, you've raised a family, you're there in your retirement, you want to stay there. Yeah. And a lot of people, especially as they become more mature, should we say, get very, very worried about. They feel, or they're very apprehensive about anything that deals with. A wrong move they pick up the tabloid press, and they'll say for the people who are living in caravans and they can see their old house, that sort of thing. Yeah. And I looked at some of the testimonials on your website, and I'm not saying I'm a soppy so and so in my old age, but they are actually quite touching, weren't they? Because they are they're obviously. We talk about people doing this. These aren't AI generated. These are absolutely. I looked at that for that, and I've written a bit. That's absolutely, because they're saying. the fact that you took the time, there's no hard sell on this one. So, I mean, you bring that sort of touch, don't you?
I think we have to. You're dealing with people, as you mentioned, people's lives. When you get to over 60 retirement, time is against us, and there's no way of sugarcoating that. It's not like you're 35 and you can make a business mistake and then you can go back and correct that. You're 70, 75 years old. You're not going to start a business and become a millionaire again, right? So that's a fact. So we have to, any decision you make at that moment in time has to be 100% correct. And our job really is to understand the situation and give just honest advice as to whether now is the right time or maybe wait for 5 years until you really, really need that money. Yeah. Because once you've done this, there's no going back, right? So it's really important that the decision you make regarding this, or if you're talking to companies about the sale of bare ownership or the venta de nuda, you can't go back in time and correct the mistake. So it's really important that as a company and as people, we respect people and we understand that they've worked all their lives, they've come towards the end of their life, and give them that care and quality advice that they seek, and that's reflective, I think, of what the feedback that we've received. And on the deals that we've done, and I think we are adding value to a lot of people's lives, and I think that's one of the motivations.
Well, because they can come back. It's not like you come in and go, Marc, hello, Marc. That's my Lamborghini outside, and just got the Rolex. But it's not. There's no hard sell. It's not like do you want to sign this now, Mr. and Mrs. Jones? And the thing that gets they come back to you. Because everybody has questions when they come back to sing.
Well, the beauty of this product is that once you've done it for someone and they see the result, i.e. they don't have any money and the following day they've got a large chunk of money in their account, and they have the freedom that brings, and they can rejoin the golf club or whatever it is that they want to do, or go back to see the grandkids, or donate some money to one of the grandkids, or
provision, as we say, provisions for care, for example.
For care. You may have an operation that you can't afford to have privately. This could help. It may be a hip replacement or something. Whatever you need the money for. Once they see the results, they've got no problem with recommending their friends and the people within their friend circle. And I think if you do a good job and you do it right and you do it at the right time, that's where you're going to get. And referral business is the best business there is. And that's from that's old school, but that's the way it is.
But I also like the fact that you said the other day you had somebody who was literally in their 90s come in and have a chat with you, and it's just like that, have a chat. It's not like because they got a couple of issues, which your door is kind of always open for that one, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're willing to come, this lady and her husband, she was 90, she's 91 and he's 83, as you do, and she was confused. Because she's pretty active. I'm pretty amazed by her, really. So she's online. She's seen all this information about Venta de la Nuda Propiedad. She's seeing about this. She asked, "Can I come and see you?" And we said, "Of course you can." And we spent 40 minutes with her husband going through the situation. And I got a lovely email a couple of hours later saying, "Thanks for your time. I can see things clearly now." And the advice was, she doesn't need to do anything.
Well, that's the thing. It's not in your interest to sell a product that she doesn't need.
No, not at all. This isn't a kitchen in IKEA. It's not. This is someone's house. Yeah. And inheritance. So it's quite important. And I think Fluent Finance Board. I think all of us at Fluent Finance Boards, we respect people, and we respect the industry, and we respect the work that we do. Hopefully will stand the test of time.
And also, it's a very nice office. I've been in there. It's a very nice office.
You need to come again because we've expanded it.
Have you? You've got a bigger coffee machine, haven't you?
We've got a bigger. We've actually, yes, a slightly bigger and bigger fridge. But yeah, no, it's looking. It's not finished yet, but
okay, fair enough.
You should come in again.
No,
yeah, it's lovely. We've got two meeting rooms now.
Okay. No, but like I said, because you're there, you've been here for ages, and you're here for the long run. That's what I'm saying. You're regulated. You're here for the long term, and you're approachable, Mark. I mean, that's the thing.
I'd like to think so. Some people may not, but agree with that. But I'll do my best.
Mark, I'm going to run out of time. So if people want to take that, because we'll get you in again next month, but if people want to find out more information, I mean, presumably, go to the TRE website, you'll see the interview with starring yours truly and Mark in the lead role. Mm-hmm. And that's 15 minutes of us and take some points. But to book a chat, to find out more about it, where should they go first, Mark? Yeah,
always head to the website, which is www.fluentfinanceabroad.com. The best, you'll see a contact us page. You can contact us through there and just sort of indicate that you want to talk to about lifetime mortgages or over 65 mortgages, and that will go direct to one of either myself or one of the senior advisors. Or you can, just find out more about us from our YouTube channel, which is Fluent Finance Abroad. But the website is always the best. You can get our phone number and stuff like that from there.
Great stuff. Well, listen, it's been great to see you again. Thanks for coming and explaining, especially the Benta Denuda, which, I mean, no more naked salesman for me. And Marc Elliott Lama from Fluent Finance Abroad, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Giles.